Right now, a crisp and clear morning is here in southern Wisconsin, but Gary is tracking flooding potential for later today. And we're following breaking news out of Seattle, where one person is dead and two others injured this morning after a shooting at a light rail station.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and thanks for starting your day with us here on News 3 Now. It's Saturday, September 14th. I'm in with Gary Canalti. Thanks for joining us on the weekend.
I had to get up early anyway, so
yeah,
I just thought
might
I'd
as well
by.
just stop by, hang out with me, and looks like it's going to be gorgeous.
Should be a nice day today, but tonight could be a different story. In fact, flash flood watches have been issued by the National Weather Service west of Dane County, beginning at 7 p.m. for areas west of Platteville and Lone Rock, and beginning at 10 o'clock for the counties immediately west of Dane County. Right now, nothing imminent for us. Weather track shows pretty much clear skies across Wisconsin. We can see some showers and thunderstorms moving into western Iowa. This first batch may dissipate as it gets closer to Wisconsin, but we'll see a better chance for showers and thunderstorms later on tonight. Right now, temperatures are pretty comfortable. They're in the upper 50s. The dew point temperatures are low, so the air is dry. Dew points in the lower 50s, but those will come up. We'll feel more humid with time. Look for sunny skies today. Our high temperature topping out at 76 degrees. As we take a look at first alert traffic, right now, things pretty quiet. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Beltline looking pretty good in both directions. Traffic heading pretty much at the posted speed limit, so about a 14-minute commute in either direction between University Avenue and the interstate. And if you're coming into Madison from Janesville, about a 26-minute commute on I-3990 from Janesville to the Beltline, 16 minutes from Sauk City to Middleton, and 13 minutes from Sun Prairie to downtown on East Washington Avenue. That's your News 3 Now first alert traffic.
And you said as far as flooding goes, we're kind of looking at the western part of our area?
That seems to be where the greatest threat for heavier rain is, and that's the area that got hit hardest over the last few days,
yes,
with the heavy rain. So we'll just have to wait and see.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Well, breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center this morning, Monona police say one person is dead after a car versus bike crash overnight. Police say a 17-year-old struck a woman riding her bike just past 1:30 a.m. The biker, believed to be in her 50s, died at the scene on West Broadway. Witnesses say prior to the crash, the biker was riding erratically. The driver of the vehicle was taken into custody and later released. Several agencies are helping Monona police, including Madison PD. One person is dead and two others are injured after a shooting at a light rail station in downtown Seattle overnight. Right now, Seattle police believe there may have been a dispute between the suspect and the victims in a nearby McDonald's before the group ended up at the train station. Now, witnesses report seeing a male suspect run from the station after the incident. Seattle police are looking for that man. They don't believe the shooting was random. The incident closed down several streets in the area. And scary moments for drivers in San Francisco. Flames tore through this minivan you can see here on the Bay Bridge overnight. The fire was reported just after 10 p.m. So far, we have not heard of any reports of injuries, thankfully, and police say they don't exactly know the cause of the fire. The flames shut down 4 out of 5 lanes on that bridge, which led to major traffic delays. Well, after several hours of deliberation, we have a verdict in the trial of Father William Nolan.
The jury finds the defendant, William A. Nolan, not guilty of sexual assault of a child under the age of 16.
The jury delivered that not guilty verdict after a 5-day-long trial in Jefferson County Court. Nolan was facing 6 felony charges of sexual assault of a child, but was acquitted on those charges. Nolan says he has to talk to the diocese, but does want to return to ministry work, just not necessarily on a full-time basis. Actress Felicity Huffman will serve a 14-day sentence for conspiring to pay $15,000 to falsify her daughter's SAT scores. That sentencing handed down Friday in a federal court in Boston. Huffman must report to prison by October 25th. In addition, she was also given a $30,000 fine and must serve 250 hours of community service and 1 year supervised release. Police have made an arrest for a fire that destroyed a synagogue in Duluth, Minnesota earlier this week. The police department will hold a press conference later today regarding the arrest of the Addis Israel synagogue fire suspect and fire investigation. The synagogue burned to the ground overnight Monday. And new this morning, another storm system is gaining strength in the Atlantic, which could eventually evolve into a hurricane. The system has now been upgraded to a tropical storm called Umberto, as it heads towards the Bahamas, where 1,300 people are still missing following Hurricane Dorian. The National Hurricane Center says the storm is expected to strengthen into a hurricane, moving close to the northwestern Bahamas today before it shifts to offshore Florida next week. Umberto is a tropical storm and bringing storm force winds and heavy rainfall along the coast of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. More local news now. A Rock County company is cashing in on a growing trend. Simply Solutions is only a couple of years old, but say a scientific process they've perfected has them on the fast track in the CBD market. Now, the company uses a special technique to remove CBD from hemp plants. The same practice can also be used to isolate other raw materials like green tea leaves. As the need for additional hemp grows in the industry, there's a chance for growth in another Wisconsin profession.
We can start deploying on really good soil, the best farmers in the country, and what's cool about that is they can sell a crop where they can make some real money again.
They'll be moving into a larger facility in a matter of months to a 30,000 square foot facility just a mile away. They say the larger space will allow the company to make CBD products in higher quantities. The city of Janesville is moving closer to a potential sports complex, making its way into a vacant space at the mall there. The complex would feature ice rinks, sports courts, and turf fields, and would go in place of the vacant JCPenney's. Now, although it would cost roughly $30 million to build, city leaders say it would bring with it economic benefits like more money, more hotels, and restaurants. There will be a community forum Wednesday at 6 p.m. at Janesville City Hall for residents to share their thoughts on the proposal. Well, you may have seen the ads that 5G cell service is coming. Well, 5G simply means the 5th generation of cell phone technology. It promises to provide lightning-fast service and make things like self-driving cars a reality. Right now, 5G service is only available in a handful of cities and limited to certain neighborhoods. That's because it uses different antennas, and more than 300,000 of them need to be installed nationwide. Now, Madison has strict guidelines concerning where those antennas can be placed.
The guidelines are in place for a reason. From FCC regulation, for health concerns, for public right-of-way and public infrastructure standpoint, those are all in place to try to protect that.
And that process hasn't even begun in Madison. The bottom line, not one of the 4 major cell carriers have announced a date for 5G service coming to Madison. And once it's here, what can we expect? Well, our Mark Kane will shed some light on this new technology tomorrow morning on News 3 Now, This Morning, Sunday. Well, the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company is expanding its reach all the way to Japan. Brewmaster and co-owner Rob Labreglio says they're opening a small production brewery in a city that is a 2-hour train ride north of Tokyo. Labreglio says he hopes to serve beers there by 2020 during the Olympics. His relationship with Japan started 30 years ago when his brother lived and attended school there. You might recognize some familiar faces in this video. The 15th annual Roomba for Rainbow Celebrity Dance Challenge at Union South brought out the dancer in some of my co-workers. There's Leah Linscheid right there. Look at that. First responders and several local news personalities, including our very own Dana Fulton and Leah Linscheid, participated, and our Amanda Quintana and Jamie Perez emceed the event. Very fun. While happening today, the Madison World Music Festival is back for its 16th year in an effort to unite the globe through music and dance. 10 performances are scheduled at both the Memorial Union and the Willie Street Fair. Event organizers say the festival connects the community with music they may not have heard otherwise.
For a long time, this is not a very, very known musical style. It was very, very isolated. It was an isolated part of Italy.
You don't need to understand language. There's no discrimination. It's for everyone. You can enjoy it. The emotions are going to be conveyed. So it's to make all the communities in Madison feel like they belong.
The festival strives to invite performers from unique and unexpected parts of the world. The event is also free. Well, the Milwaukee Brewers will extend the protective netting at Miller Park for the 2020 season. They intend to add an additional 105 feet of netting on the first base side and 145 feet of netting along third base. The project comes after several people, including children, have been severely injured by foul balls in ballparks across the country. Well, speaking of the crew, the Brewers suffered a tough loss to the sellout crowd at Busch Stadium overnight. The team fell by a score of 12-0 after Paul Goldschmidt not only hit a 3-run homer, but a grand slam too. The crew is still in the hunt for the second National League wildcard spot. They're now one game behind the Cubs as they continue to play without Christian Yelich. First pitch tonight is at 6:15. Over to the Cubs now. After starting the game well behind the Pirates, they hit several homers and a grand slam of their own. Cubs win 17-8 overnight. Wisconsin's the first FBS team since the 1980s to score more than 100 points and allow 0 in its first 2 games of the season. Now they get a very early bye week after a 2-0 start. The team is off today ahead of the Big Ten play next week. Wisconsin's outscored opponents 110-0 so far, but that scoreline will likely shrink next week when they play against Michigan home. The players say they're looking forward to bigger challenges the rest of the season.
The atmosphere of games are a little different. It's definitely a little bit more physical team. I'm not on Central Michigan or South Florida, but just as far as depth-wise, in the Power 5 conference. But it's definitely going to be fun. We can't wait to show everybody, who we are.
And the Packers open the Lambeau schedule tomorrow against the Vikings. They play 5 of their first 7 at home. Now, quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he wishes the home-heavy schedule came at the end of the season when opposing teams have to deal with the freezing cold, but they'll take the home advantage whenever they can get it.
We're going to have to get these early in the season to set ourselves up for some of those tough road stretches down, in the back half of the season. We got a great team coming in, and it's going to be important for us to start fast, get the home field advantage going, let our defense, get going and rush the passer, and that starts with us doing our job on offense.
Time here is 8:11, and it won't feel like the frozen tundra at Lambeau this weekend, but that's good news for the last few days of summer. You are taking a live look over the Capitol right now, where vendors are getting ready for hopefully a busy and sunny day at the farmers market. Gary will have your full forecast just ahead.
Well, as nice as it seems out there now, it's hard to imagine that I had to put an alert day in the forecast for tonight, but I did. I added an alert day for tonight because of the possibility for thunderstorms to develop that could produce some heavy downpours. I'm not looking for widespread heavy rain, but the problem is that we don't need any more rain across parts of southern Wisconsin. Even amounts around an inch could cause problems with flooding. So the National Weather Service has flash flood watches out for areas west of Dane County. They begin at 7 p.m. west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Camp Douglas line, and beginning at 10 p.m. for the counties immediately west of Dane County. There's also the possibility for an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm. Hail and gusty winds the main threat. There's a marginal risk for areas west of Madison for tonight, but I think it's more of a flooding threat that we have to watch out for than severe weather. Already we're seeing some thunderstorms moving out of Nebraska into western Iowa. The first batch will probably weaken a little bit, but we'll see more showers and storms develop tonight as the humidity levels start to increase. Computer models are showing the heaviest amounts of rain along and just to the south of the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. Some areas picking up around 3/4 of an inch generally, but there could be heavier amounts in excess of an inch or two in some of the heavier thunderstorms. The farther north and east from Madison you go, the lesser the chances for heavy rain or even widespread minimal amounts there. Live view from the WISC Sky Camp showing clear skies. Edgewater Sky Camp showing a beautiful Saturday morning. Farmers Market probably off to a great start this morning. 57 the current temperature with mostly sunny skies. The air is calm. The humidity at 87%. Temperatures are in the 40s and low 50s in the northern part of the state, mid to upper 50s here in southern Wisconsin. You have to get south into parts of southern Iowa before you start seeing temperatures in the lower 60s. But those dew point temperatures are low here. They are starting to increase out to the west, and that's what will bring us to thunderstorms later on tonight. So flash flood watch in effect, areas west of Dane County overnight. Look for skies to be sunny this morning. Temperatures climbing to around 70 by late morning. Look for an afternoon high temperature of about 76 degrees. Tonight, temperatures will drop to a low of 63, but showers and thunderstorms will develop. Some of those could have heavy downpours. Tomorrow, look for a high temperature of 80 degrees once the storms end. Future track, you can see showers and storms moving in later on tonight into tomorrow morning. Then they'll clear out and we'll see some sunshine by tomorrow afternoon. High temperatures will be up around 80, and rainfall amounts heaviest down toward the Illinois state line. We'll have to keep an eye out for the possibility for some isolated areas of flooding. Otherwise, after the thunderstorms end tomorrow morning, look for warm and humid weather, but no rain expected for Sunday afternoon through Wednesday. Another chance of thunderstorms about Wednesday night into Thursday, and then temperatures drop back into the 70s for the end of next week.
Well, like you said, it's a little deceptive because it looks gorgeous right now, but
right.
You know,
but you get some rain, and like I say, any rain for parts of the area, that's not good
that'll
news.
tip it over the edge. Okay. Well, thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Well, it is 8:18. Several familiar faces are returning to the stage and screen in a variety of different ways. Plus, there are several shows and movies you should find time for this weekend. Will shares his picks and 3 things to watch. That is all ahead here on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday.
Well, the time is 8:21 right now. We're watching the potential for some stronger thunderstorms tonight that could bring some heavy downpours. Flash flood watch in effect west of Dane County later tonight through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Nothing imminent right now. Some thunderstorms moving into western Iowa. The first batch will probably stay to our south and dissipate, but we'll see more storms later on tonight. Nothing on radar right now. Otherwise, temperatures are in the middle to upper 50s. Dew point temperatures are in the lower 50s, so it should be a pleasant day. Look for plenty of sunshine. Those temperatures warming up into the middle 70s by late afternoon and dropping into the upper 60s as thunderstorms begin by mid to late evening. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
All right, thank you, Gary. Well, let's take a look at what is trending this morning. A famous husband and wife team are returning to the stage for a new take on an old comedy. Actress Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick are returning to Broadway to star in a revival of Neil Simon's 1968 comedy Plaza Suite. The curtain rises on the show at the Hudson Theater in New York next March. The acting duo previously performed separately in Broadway's 1995 revival of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Actress Viola Davis is taking on a new role, but this time it doesn't include movies or a film, but as brand ambassador. The 54-year-old Academy Award-winning actress is the newest face of L'Oreal Paris. She joins Celine Dion, Eva Longoria, and Helen Mirren as the face of the well-known cosmetics line. And Whoopi Goldberg is set to star in The Stand, an adaptation of Stephen King's novel, at CBS All Access. Now, Goldberg portrays Mother Abigail, a prophet who receives visions from God and guides survivors of the superflu. The Stand, a 10-episode miniseries event, is coming exclusively to CBS All Access. An official release date has not yet been announced. But you don't have to wait to watch something great at home or in the theaters. Here is Will Loper's 3 things to watch.
New on home video this week is Aladdin.
There's a cave of wonders. Bring me the lamp.
The live-action Disney remake follows the street rat Aladdin as he finds a lamp and tries to use it to win over the heart of Princess Jasmine.
You look like a prince on the outside, but I didn't change anything on the inside. Showtime.
No, I'm in charge, okay? I say when it's time. Really?
The 2019 version of Aladdin is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Watch out! You done wound me up. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Dad. Is this a dream?
Well, partly.
Newly streaming on Amazon Prime this week is the series Undone.
You usually act even stranger than usual. Whoa. But since the accident, you have been acting more even stranger than usual.
Rose Salazar stars in the animated sci-fi show as a woman who gets in a car accident and discovers she is able to control time.
I'm seeing my dead father.
I wasn't in an accident. I was killed.
And he's training me to travel in time.
With your ability, we can change what happened.
So I can save him from being murdered.
Undone is available to stream on Amazon Prime now.
Of course. The only one in my family who believes in me is the dead one.
For now.
I couldn't sleep.
No, you can't die from insomnia.
I'd flip through catalogs and wonder, what kind of dining set defines me as a person? This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
Finally, this week marks the 20-year anniversary of Fight Club.
I prayed for a different life.
Soap. I make and I sell soap.
And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
Ed Norton stars as a depressed office worker who meets the magnetic Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt, and finds himself getting deeper into an underground fight club and much more.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is...
Wow, nice.
You do not talk about Fight Club.
Is that your blood?
Some of it, yeah.
Fight Club is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
You were looking for a way to change your life. You got it.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 Now this morning.
There is much more ahead on News 3 Now. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories. Plus, it may be a bye week for the Badgers, but there's a different Badger in town. The story behind the newest artwork on the UW's campus. We'll be right back. If you've flown American Airlines over the past 3.5 decades, you've probably taken off in one of these. Well, now they're headed to the boneyard, the airplane boneyard, that is. We'll take you there just ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's September 14th. I'm Keely Arthur. We'll get a check on your first alert forecast with Gary in just a second. But first, here are 3 things to know as you start your day. Monona police say 1 person is dead after a car versus bike crash overnight. Police say a 17-year-old woman riding her bike just past 1:30 a.m. Was hit. The biker, believed to be in her 50s, died at the scene on West Broadway. Now, witnesses say prior to the crash, the biker was riding erratically. The driver was taken into custody but later released. Several agencies are helping Monona police conduct their investigation, including Madison police. Well, a scary scene for drivers in San Francisco as flames tore through a minivan on the Bay Bridge overnight. The fire was reported just after 10 p.m. So far, we have not heard reports of any injuries. Police there say the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Those flames, though, shut down 4 out of the 5 lanes on that bridge, which led to major traffic delays after Friday night's Elton John concert. And another storm system is gaining strength in the Atlantic, which could eventually evolve into a hurricane. The system has now been upgraded to a tropical storm called Umberto, as it heads towards the Bahamas, where 1,300 people are still missing following Hurricane Dorian. The National Hurricane Center says the storm is expected to strengthen into a hurricane, moving closer to the northwestern parts of the Bahamas today before it shifts to offshore Florida next week. And switching to our weather, Gary, things calmer here, but we are looking at a chance for some storms.
Tonight, yes. During the day today, should be no problem. You can see on weather tracks, skies are sunny across Wisconsin. There are some thunderstorms in western Iowa. A few of those clouds will reach us this afternoon, but our better chances for rain will be tonight. And the National Weather Service has issued flash flood watches for areas west of Dane County from tonight through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. There's also a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms with gusty winds and hail and a stronger storm. Otherwise, temperatures right now are in the mid to upper 50s through southern Wisconsin. Very pleasant morning out there. Dew point temperatures are in the lower 50s, so the air is still pretty comfortable, but it will become more humid with time. Temperatures will climb up to a high today of 76 degrees under mostly sunny skies. As we take a look at first alert traffic this morning, still looking pretty good on the area roadways. Let's take a look at the first alert traffic. You can see the Beltline right now, no problems. Maybe a few slowdowns northbound on Park Street. Otherwise, things pretty quiet around Dane County. Not seeing any delays on I-3990 down toward the Illinois state line, or I-94 over toward Milwaukee. And north and west of Madison, no problems on I-3990 heading up through the Dells, I-39 into central Wisconsin, and US 151 into the Fox Valley. That is your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
Thank you, Gary. The MD-80 was one of American Airlines' most popular planes for 36 years, but time eventually caught up with the plane lovingly called the Mad Dog. American retired its final 26 this month, replacing them with newer, more efficient planes. But not before Chris Van Cleve headed to the airplane boneyard to find out what happens next.
American 9466, you got people up here watching, so make it a good one. Clear for takeoff.
This will be the final takeoff for American Airlines Flight 9466, touching the painted early morning sky for the last time as it flies from Dallas to Roswell, New Mexico.
Retirement flights are special. Typically, there are only pilots. We're about the only passengers on board, which means we do have our pick of seats.
There you go.
Captain Dave Clark was at the controls. After 53,563 flight hours and approximately 3.2 million passengers since it first took off, with this final entry in the plane's log, Clark closed the book on American's MD-80 fleet, an old friend of his for 27 years.
You know this day is coming for a while, but to realize this is your last takeoff, your last landing, this is the last time you sign the logbook, shut the engines down, it's a little surreal.
Well, that's it.
One by one, the parade of planes, the last of the airline's MD-80s, landed in Roswell, rolling to a stop side by side.
It's so much of the part of the history of American.
American Airlines CEO Doug Parker has brought in more than 500 new planes in the last 6 years.
We now have the youngest fleet of all the network airlines. This is what happens when you bring in new airplanes. Old airplanes come out to the desert.
24 retiring planes in a day is unusual, but this is literally where old planes are put out to pasture. The hot, dry air wards off rust, preserving the aircraft. From old 747s to a private jet that once belonged to Elvis, row after row, a sprawling testament to the planes of yesterday. So many, you can see them from space.
Is Roswell the end of the line for most of these planes?
For most of the airplanes, yes.
Brian Hancock's company, Cavu Aerospace, buys old airliners. They sell the engines and strip the plane of in-demand parts.
What percentage of this plane will end up getting reused?
So with the processes and procedures that are used today, we are up in the 90 percentile.
Retirement's not so great for the rest. Smashed into pieces and sold for scrap. But Dave Hall sees a certain beauty here.
It's quiet. You sort of just hear time passing these planes by.
It's got this real eerie kind of feeling. It's a boneyard/graveyard. It's something romantic about it in the same sense, you know, to come out here and walk amongst these giants.
For nearly 20 years, he's been taking pieces of old planes and turning them into something new. This MD-80 tail they're cutting up today goes to Hall's Southern California workshop, where his company Moto Art will turn it into furniture that borders on art. A sofa, this mile-high bed, or his bestseller, these tables.
I felt like it was really kind of like our duty to kind of preserve aviation history a little bit.
History that for now is grounded.
American expects some of the planes that were retired this week to fly again for a different airline in different colors, but most of these planes will be parted out and recycled. Some will sit here, parked in the New Mexico desert, for years to come. Chris Van Cleve, Roswell, New Mexico.
More local news now. There's a new sculpture near Camp Randall Stadium paying tribute to a well-known Madison artist. Harry Whitehorse belonged to the Ho-Chunk Bear Clan. He was a World War II naval veteran, owned an auto body shop for 45 years, and was best known for his extraordinary artwork and creativity. Before he passed in December of 2017, Whitehorse created the model for the new Badger sculpture that's now in the plaza where Monroe and Regent Streets intersect.
So we thank and honor Harry Whitehorse, whose closeness to wildlife and his Ho-Chunk heritage are so strongly reflected in the fine detail of the brush strokes, in the intricate carvings, and the realism of his metal sculptures.
The sculpture dedication service Friday included singing and drumming Ho-Chunk dancers and the color guard. It's 8:37 and looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we have got you covered, from small business deals on one of Madison's most popular streets to music playing all around town. Your weekend 608 is next on News 3 Now This Morning, Saturday.
Well, the time is now 8:41. Things pretty quiet across southern Wisconsin. Weather track shows lots of sunshine across the state, but there are some showers and thunderstorms in western Iowa heading in our direction. They'll be here for tonight, and because of that, the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for areas west of Dane County through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. There's also a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms, gusty winds and hail being the main threats west of Madison, mainly for storms before midnight. Otherwise, temperatures right now are generally in the middle to upper 50s. Madison right now at 57 degrees. Dew point temperatures are still pretty comfortable in the lower 50s. Will become more humid with time. Temperatures will slowly climb into the middle 70s by late this afternoon and drop into the upper 60s with the humidity keeping temperatures up a bit for tonight, along with the showers and thunderstorms. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Thanks for tracking that, Gary. Well, it is the weekend in the 608, and here is what is happening around Madison. Later today, the Monroe Street Festival will be packed with food, vendors, and beverage carts. The Saturday-only festival will have tons of activities for kiddos, including face painting, a sidewalk art contest, a bouncy castle, and animals from the Henry Vilas Zoo. Local groups, including Forward Marching Band and Mad City Funk, will play music on the music stage. And the Willie Street Fair is also happening. It doubles as the World Music Festival. The annual event brings music from across the world to the Memorial Union and the Willie Street Fair each year. Organizers say they hope it helps Madisonians better understand the world, its many cultures, and the power of music. For kids, it's an opportunity to expose them to new instruments and possibly consider picking one up themselves. And because of the Willie Street Fair this weekend, there are several road closures to know about. 3 blocks of Willie Street will be closed between South Livingston and South Ingersoll Streets. That starts at noon today and goes until 10 o'clock Sunday night. The 300 blocks of South Patterson and South Brierley Streets will also be closed at those times. Because of the parade tomorrow, more streets will be closed between 11 a.m. and noon. You're taking a look at some of those stretches up on your screen right now. And of course, all of that info is up on our website, channel3000.com. Well, it is 8:43 and you are going to take a live look over the Capitol. Gary will have your full forecast next on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday. But first, if you have a little one turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can share their picture on TV and help them celebrate.
Well, even though the weather will be nice for today, there is an alert day in the forecast for tonight for the possibility for thunderstorms that will develop and produce some locally heavy rain, especially south and west of Madison. That's an area that got hit hardest with the rains over the last 4 to 5 days, and unfortunately there may be more rain on the way. So the National Weather Service has issued flash flood watches for southwestern Wisconsin beginning at 7 p.m. for areas west of Platteville to Lone Rock to Camp Douglas line, and then east of there into areas west of Dane County. That watch starts at 10 p.m., runs until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The rain should cut off pretty quickly during the morning hours tomorrow. There also is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms with hail and gusty winds being the main threats, but the severe weather threat I think is pretty minimal. There are some stronger thunderstorms in western Iowa, but even those have been weakening as they push eastward, so we probably have to wait until later on tonight before we see a better threat for thunderstorms. And you see, according to the computer models, perhaps around a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain generally. Now that's a lot on top of the soaked soils, but there could be some isolated 1 or 2 inch amounts in the heavier thunderstorms. The farther north and east from Madison you go, the lesser the chances that you're going to see some heavier thunderstorms. Live view from the WISC Skycam this morning showing mainly clear skies, just a few cirrus clouds out there. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing a beautiful morning. The farmers market going on right now, 57 degrees the current temperature. The air is calm. Dew point temperature at 53. Just a really nice morning out there. Temperatures are in the 50s, a few 40s up in northern Minnesota. Down to the south, you can see some 60s showing up. Dew point temperatures are low. They're in the 50s here, but they are starting to increase into the 60s to our south and west. And that's what's fueling those showers and thunderstorms that are moving into western Iowa. Meanwhile, Umberto here, you can see it pushing toward the Bahamas. That should stay off the coast, at least according to the latest computer model forecast track, so hopefully that will keep it away. We're going to have to keep our attention on those showers and thunderstorms out to the west. So flash flood watch west of Dane County overnight through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This morning, temperatures climbing to around 70 by lunchtime with sunny skies. This afternoon, mostly sunny and mild, high temperature topping out at 76. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms developing. Some of those with heavy downpours, low of 63, and then tomorrow back up to 80 as the rain comes to an end. We'll see some sunshine in the afternoon. Future track, look for quiet conditions this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms tonight. They should end pretty quickly tomorrow morning with sunshine returning in the afternoon, highs around 80. Again, heaviest rainfall to our south and to our west. The 7 to 10 day forecast, though, calls for high temperatures in the lower 80s, a little more humidity for early next week. But right now, we should be rain free until Wednesday night and Thursday with some shower and thunderstorm chances. Then temperatures still a little bit above normal in the 70s for the end of next week and into the following weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that. So again,
hanging on to those final few days of summer.
Yeah, it's it'll feel pretty comfortable once we get into next week.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us. Check out this gorgeous photo sent in by Brad. It's a picture of the sunrise at Governor Dodge State Park. Thank you for sharing, Brad. And what does your morning look like? You can take a picture and post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We will share our favorites right here on News 3 Now this morning, Saturday. Well, stick with News 3 all day long, and then tomorrow morning we are talking about the latest in 5G technology and how soon it could be here in Madison. But first, working towards a more perfect union. We're going to meet a man who's using his love of archery to improve his community. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Finally this morning in our series, A More Perfect Union, we aim to show that what unites us as Americans is far greater than what divides us. Vlad Dudier introduces us to a New York City man who's using his love of archery to better his home.
This was your first, that was your second, that was your third. Yep. Not bad at all. Yep.
Larry Brown has dedicated his life to archery. Can you describe the feeling you had when you first pulled back that bow and arrow?
My father, one day, he took myself and my two brothers out to a garbage dump in Queens, got a cushion, and taught us how to shoot. And that's how it started, and I've been doing it ever since.
You didn't have a coach?
No.
He wasn't just missing a coach. His bow was carved from a neighborhood tree.
Actually, everybody thought I was crazy. This is bows and arrows? Who shoots bows and arrows? Everybody's playing baseball, football, basketball. I'm in the backyard. And the next thing I knew, I had other kids wanting to learn how to shoot.
Growing up in a tough Queens neighborhood, Brown's skill launched him into the Ivy League as head coach of the women's archery team at New York's Columbia University.
Columbia, I had 14 students for 4 years. Varsity, NCAA, Division I, the whole 9 yards. But when I went to tournaments and I didn't see any black and brown children, I said, you know what? I'm in my 50s now. Let me make a little change here. Let me have that, please, that blue case.
It was a big change. Brown stepped away from Columbia and went back to his roots in the public school system, teaching archery basics to hundreds of New York City children.
You can put your bow on here. It wasn't about a job, it was about a mission. And that's what made it much more comfortable for me to do. And I've been doing that for now going on 16 years.
Brooklyn native Dallas Jones is one of Brown's prized pupils.
He dropped it down just enough so that it went dead center.
So you first came here when you were 10 years old. Yep. Now you're 16, and you're nationally ranked.
Yes.
And now you're getting ready to compete for a spot on the United States Olympic archery team.
Yes, sir. I can tell it's going to be a fun experience. I'm not going to try to put too much stress on myself. Archery is about having fun. If I don't have fun, there's no point in doing it.
Dallas Jones. Jones is the first African-American in history to win a U.S. national archery tournament and has his eyes fixed on competing in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Do you see yourself not only as a pioneer, but also as a role model?
I surely hope so. I can be a role model to anybody else that didn't know really too much about this sport. I surely hope I can get more people into the sport, and especially people of color, and not just to section it off. I want to get everybody into the sport.
When you see how successful Dallas has been, what goes through your mind?
This joy and happiness, to answer your question straight up. But the success that I see with him, I also see in children who don't get as far as he did, but they came through the program and they learned from it. One of my students who started the program here in Brooklyn at 11, she just got her master's degree. So they both rose to the top, different fields, but they came through the same channel. Is it even or what?
Even.
Brown's teachings impact students well beyond just the bow and arrow, imparting wisdom they can carry with them even off the range.
Okay? Gotcha. The greatest reward is them. I mean, outside of a medal, outside of getting paid, outside of all the external attributes, the true growth is the reward of a living person doing what you taught them to do, and it changes their lives.
You're collapsing your shoulder. You don't want to clap this.
So this got us talking, because Gary and I went to the same high school. And
Just a few years apart.
A few years apart, and you did archery. I did not have to do that.
Yeah, back in the late 70s, we did archery. We also did square dancing and disco dancing. I'm sure you didn't have to do that either.
We did not have to do any disco dancing.
Well, I'm going to stay away from the dancing. Just keep an eye on the weather. Things are pretty quiet for today. There's our pet walk picture. Sassy and Wanakee probably enjoying the weather for today. 3 p.m. temperature of 75. Right now, temperatures are climbing into the lower 60s, but there is a flash flood watch out to the west of us for tonight. Look for showers and storms to end tomorrow morning, and then look for warm and humid weather for the first part of next week, and maybe temperatures in the 70s at the end of the week.
All right, thank you, Gary. You're off tomorrow. I'm in with Hattie starting at 6:30. Thanks for watching, everybody.